Hare Krishna, Hina Mataji, how are you?
Hello, Mataji. Hello, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. Am I audible to you clearly?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for changing the timing.
Yes, yes. I
Hare
think this will
Krishna.
work out for all of us. And going forward, we can
Yeah.
have it at 10 o'clock. Hare Krishna, Dev, how are you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, good to see you again. I think Vinodji has joined on YouTube. Looks like he's again traveling, but nonetheless, he is joined, so that is nice. So, today we are in the 103rd session of the Bhagavad Gita study circle, and we have been discussing very elaborately so many different aspects of the Bhagavad Gita. There are so many secrets shared in the Bhagavad Gita. So, as usual, let's begin this session also with the pranam mantras, and there are some very beautiful things that Krishna is explaining in the last section of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. And today we will be completing chapter 9, and we will be discussing some very nice things that Krishna is revealing in these particular verses. Okay, so but before we do that, let's all together join palms and then let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. All of you can join your palms and chant along with me. So let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON and my beloved spiritual master. So kindly join your palms and let's chant together. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle. We have discussed some very important shlokas in chapter 9, and in this particular session, we are going to cover the last 3 verses of the chapter 9. And in the previous verse, we had discussed some very important thing where Krishna says, actually, it's a very hope giving verse which says that apichet su duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadur eva samantavya samyak vyavastito hi saha. So Krishna is very mercifully saying that if in case a devotee who is a practicing devotee, for some reason he falls down from his devotional position, apichet su duracharo, still, if he has that inclination to perform devotional service, then he should still be considered to be sadhur evacha mantavya. So he is a sadhu. And such people, Krishna says that such sadhus, although they have actually temporarily fallen down from their position, but here Krishna says that such people are situated in devotional service with determination. And then he also continues to say that Chipram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvat Shantim Nigachati Kaunteya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashanti. So he's saying, oh Kaunteya, you declare that Name Bhakta Pranashanti, none of my devotees who have surrendered unto me will ever be vanquished. He's saying that Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Shipra means very quickly, such a fallen soul will again regain back his devotional platform, his status of devotion, and then very quickly he'll come back to me. And then he's saying that Kaunteya, actually you make this promise to the world because I have a reputation of breaking my promises. So it's good that if you do it, and that is how Krishna is asking Arjuna to actually announce to the whole world that my devotees will never be vanquished. Name bhakta pranashyati. So Krishna has explained very beautifully that in the previous verses, in the 30th verse, he explained that apichetsu duracharo. That means I'm a devotee, we are practicing devotees, and there is a chance that I may commit some sinful activities and my devotional life may actually get stagnated. Right? That is very much possible. So in this life, I commit mistake. So anybody who commits mistakes in this life are called durachari. He is misbehaving. His improper conduct actually makes him a durachari. Such a person is called a durachari. But in the next verse, Krishna is continuing to say that all those people who have not committed sinful activities in this life, but what happens to those people who have actually committed sinful activities in the past life? What about them? So that is what Krishna is going to explain in the today's session. So Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant this verse number 32. It's a very interesting verse. Hope that is visible to you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mam hi partha vyapashritya
Mam hi partha vyapasitya
epi syu papayonayah
yepi shu papayonah
priyo vaishyastata shudras
striyo vaishyastata shudras
tepi yanti param gatim.
tepi yanti param gatim.
Wonderful. Once again, Mam hi partha vyapashritya
Mam hi partha vyapashritya
epi syu papayonayah
yepi shu papayonayah
priyo vaishyastata shudras
striyo vaishyastata shudras
tepi yanti param gatim.
tepi yanti param gatim.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, that is merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, this is a very interesting verse. Here Krishna is saying that Mam hi partha vyapashritya. Ashritya. Ashritya means to take shelter. Vipashritya means to take Vishesha shelter. That means a very special shelter. So we are all supposed to take the special shelter. So when we take that special shelter, then Krishna is saying that even if you are a person who have committed a lot of sinful activities in the previous life, that will be taken care of. How? What kind of people there are? So Krishna is saying people who have committed mistakes or sinful activities in the past life, they are called as Papa Yonayaha. So Prabhupada also explains that Papa Yonaya means that they have been given a certain body which is not very conducive for spiritual growth. So they have a body, they have a certain nature which is not very conducive for spiritual practices. That is what Prabhupada says it Papa Yonaya. Let us understand this Papa Yonaya. Papa Yonaya means there are living entities, when they commit a lot of sinful activities, then they can become asuras, they can become rakshasas, they can become pakshi, pashu, all these animals and birds, all such categories are all Papa Yonayaha. They all come into this category of Papa Yonayaha. So, still the living entities can become devotees. So, it's very interesting to know that although there are sinful people, Krishna is saying there is a chance that even such people can become a devotee. Very, very beautiful. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained. There is a very nice verse which says, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumbha Yavana Khasadaya Ye Nechi Papa Yad Apashrayashraya Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. So it is said that Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha. So these are the categories of people, human beings, who are even lower than the Chandalas, lower than the Shudras. So now what to speak of? Krishna is speaking in this verse, Shudra. Shudra means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, which is the fourth category, the bottommost category. Then there is Chandalas, but below the Chandalas also there are such categories like Kirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, Kashadayaha. All these people in the Middle East and all, Prabhupada also in the Srimad Bhagavatam explains that people in the Middle East are called Yavanas, Mlechas. Mlechas and Yavanas are all the Western people. So they're all they come under this category of Yavanas and Mlechas. Then like that, there are many people, different categories of people who have different types of consciousness. So all such people can also come to the perfection of becoming a devotee. So this is very interesting. When we come in contact with Krishna, each and everybody can become a devotee because every soul is ultimately an amsha of the Lord. Please understand, Krishna is saying, Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. Aham Bija Pradapitaha. I am the father, a seed giving father of everyone. So when Krishna says that I am the seed giving father, that everybody is my amsha, that means we all have the potential to become a devotee, irrespective of what birth we are in. Just like coal, koila, we know koila. When you take that coal and when it is in fire, it actually derives that property of fire. It actually looks like fire, it sparkles like fire. But the same koila, the coal, when you separate it, when you take it out of the fire, then what happens? It looks blackish, it becomes blackish automatically, isn't it? Many, when children, we were as children, sometimes we used to take this coal, koila, and we used to use like a chalk, black chalk, write anything on the walls. So it becomes black again. Why? Because it has lost contact with the fire. So similarly, when we come in contact with the Lord, naturally the potential that the soul has will come out. The dormant potential which is there within the soul to become a devotee will automatically come out. And that is how we all can become truly happy only when we come in contact with the Lord. And Krishna is saying that nobody is actually barred from becoming a devotee. That means it's anybody can become a devotee. And let us see from the very beautiful examples. We have, when we take the examples of animals, Prabhupada and also explains, and Krishna is saying that even animals, insects, your birds, Anybody can become a devotee because they're all living entities. And the best example is also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where there is the story of the Gajendra in the 8th canto very beautifully. Gajendra is a elephant, and that elephant, he's been very strongly caught by the crocodile, and the crocodile is holding the leg of Gajendra for 1000 years in the lake. It's very powerful. The crocodile is very powerful in the water. Elephants are not. Elephant is powerful on the land. But here we see that Gajendra has very powerfully been caught by this crocodile, and they had a fight for 1000 celestial years. Can you imagine the fight? There is a tug of war between the crocodile and the elephant. Each one of them is trying to pull out and trying to get out of this fight, but Gajendra could not escape the grip of the crocodile. And then finally, this Gajendra, he picks up a lotus from that lake, and then he takes that onto his trunk, and then he starts offering wonderful prayers, Gajendra's prayers, very beautiful prayers there. And then he offers that lotus flower to Lord Vishnu. We have in the same chapter, we have studied about offering pushpam. So Gajendra actually offered pushpam to the Lord. Very beautiful prayers he offers, and then he was protected. Just see, Gajendra, he is actually an elephant. He is in the body of an elephant, but he became a great devotee, and we recite the prayers of Gajendra even now. And then we have another very beautiful example. We have an example of, there is a Jatayu. Jatayu is a very fantastic bird. Jatayu, when Mother Sita was actually being kidnapped by Ravana, it was Jatayu who actually tried to stop Ravana. In fact, he gave his life for protecting Mother Sita. It is so wonderful. A bird, he is actually in the body of a bird, but then still he is considered to be the greatest devotee. He is considered to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. And what to speak of his fortune, because Lord Rama personally did his last rites. He performed the last rites for Jatayu. So we have Gajendra, who is an animal, he's an elephant, we have Jatayu, and still they are considered to be the greatest devotees of the Lord. So no one is barred actually from becoming the great devotee. It's very, very special. We all need to understand this. So that's why Krishna is saying that this is very, very hope-giving verses. So we should consider these verses and to be very personal instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying that I will personally protect my devotees. Very, very special. Now, in this particular verse, if we take specifically here, Krishna is saying that Mamhipata Vipashritya Episyu Papa Yonaya. I explained Papa Yonaya means those who do not have a conducive body to perform devotional service. And who are those? Striya Vaishyas Tata Shudra. Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. So this is very, very important. We need to understand this point. Now, there is no way that it is to offend any women devotees when Krishna is actually speaking about this. But we should know that when Krishna is saying that, oh, Bhagavad Gita is actually promoting hatred against women, and some people try to pick these points from the Bhagavad Gita and want to, especially the feminists, they have always an eye on such things and try to exaggerate things beyond the point, and they don't know the conclusive things about the Bhagavad Gita, and they come to some wrong conclusions. So when we see our whole scriptures, we have amazing examples of women devotees. And we should all know that when we worship the Lord, we don't worship the Lord alone. We worship the Lord along with Radharani, Lakshmi Narayana. So we always worship the female potency of the Lord also. That is very important. So there is no way we should take this as a disrespect when Krishna is saying that, oh, they are Papa Yonayaha. So there are amazing examples of women who became great devotees. But yes, their psychophysical nature of men and women is very different, and especially these three categories who have been explained in this particular verse of women, Vaishya and Shudra. So if we take the example of women, we have amazing devotees like Devahuti. Devahuti is the mother of Lord Kapila. She is actually the mother of the incarnation of the Lord, that is Lord Kapila. And she directly received knowledge from Lord. Amazing Sankhya Yoga, which is the part of the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, amazing Sankhya Yoga is being explained by Lord Kapila, where there are so many intricate things are explained about the 25 elements, and Sankhya Yoga was given to Devahuti. She is the greatest devotee. We have an example of Shabari in Ramayana. Now, she offered the fruit to Lord Rama and she went back to home, back to Godhead. In this very same chapter, we have an example of recent, Pushpam. Gajendra offered Pushpa, and we have Shabari who actually offered Phala to the Lord. And just by offering these things with love and devotion, and they attained the perfection. We have example of Shabari, and then we have example of Kunti Maharani also. Kunti Maharani, she has offered so beautiful prayers that even the greatest of the sannyasis, they recite those prayers today. Now, how can great exalted people, sannyasis, they recite prayers offered by a less intelligent person? Or just because she's a woman, she's less intelligent, so we should not read and chant those things? No. Even now, the greatest of the sannyasis and the great devotees, they actually chant Kunti Maharani's prayers. So that means she is not less intelligent. Then we have example of Draupadi, completely surrendered, fully surrendered to the Lord, isn't it? So these things we should know that when Krishna says something, there is a reason behind this. And we'll try to understand what is the reason. There are always some hidden meanings. When we just surface level understanding of Bhagavad Gita will not help. We always need to dive deeper into the meaning and understand it properly. And then we have the highest exalted devotees, the gopis, who are all women now. Now, is there anyone who can be compared to the gopis? They were completely surrendered to the Lord and full, complete in love with Lord. So, how can they be less intelligent? Right? They cannot be less intelligent. So, when Krishna is actually mentioning that women, Vaishyas and Sudras are Papa Yonayaha, it means that actually they are having a body which is not really conducive to practice Jnana and Yoga. It's very difficult. Jnana Marga and the Marga of Astanga Yoga is extremely difficult for these categories of people. It's very, very difficult for these people to understand and follow the Jnana Marga and Yoga Marga, your Astanga Yoga. If you ask any women to go to the forest and stand on one leg and do the tapasya, it's extremely difficult. Although there might be some exceptions. There are exceptions actually. But in general, it is very difficult for them because the psychophysical nature will not allow them to do that. It's extremely difficult for them to undergo such very severe tapasya. Astanga Yoga is out of question. And then we also have Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga involves a lot of tapasya in terms of reading and understanding the philosophical aspects of life. There are so many Shat Darshanas and the Vedic understanding of so many different aspects. It's very difficult for them. So that is why Bhakti Yoga is very, very easy for these people. So irrespective of whether we are Striya, Vaishya or Shudra, Bhakti Marga is applicable to everyone and each one of us can become devotee. Jnana and Yoga, not for everyone. It is not really meant for everyone. So in that sense, we have wonderful examples of Striya who have become greatest devotees in the history of Vedic literature. And we also have wonderful examples of Vaishya. Vaishya is basically mercantile people who are constantly involved in business and trading, all such things. And there's a very, very beautiful example. I'm sure that you must be remembering this, which I had told earlier also. But still, nonetheless, we will, once again understand this very beautiful story of Jajali. Now, there was this Rishi, Jajali Rishi. This story comes in the Mahabharata. Now, he was a great Rishi and doing a lot of tapasya to please the Lord. And his intense tapasya was actually been noticed by many great devatas also. But now it so happened that once when he was doing tapasya, he stood like a tree, under a tree. He stood like a tree under a tree, and for many, many, many years he was standing like that, just doing tapasya, constantly closing his eyes. And it so happened that there were few birds which came to that tree, and it was all full. And there were no much space for the new birds to come in. So what had happened was Jajali Rishi's hair, all the matted hair, had grown so much that few birds took shelter of his hair on their head, and they started residing. Now Jajali Rishi thought, oh, these birds are residing, now I'm giving shelter to them. So he started thinking that I am becoming the Australia for these, I'm giving Australia to these birds. And it so happened that the birds gave eggs, and then eggs got hatched, and then little birds also came out. And Jajali Rishi was thinking that, oh, see, I didn't want to disturb them. I stood like a tree, continuously did my tapasya, and I gave shelter to these birds. So he had got that little, you know, pride in him that, oh, I am such a great yogi that I stood there and I gave shelter to these birds. And then, as he was thinking like that, the birds came and told to Jajali Rishi that you are not a great person. You are not a very great person. Real dharma is followed by that Tuladhara. You know, Tuladhara was a Vaishya, a merchant, who is actually a businessman who is doing his exchanges, trading perfectly, and actually he is considered to be a more dharmishta than you. Jajali Rishi was totally excited, not excited in the sense in a negative way. He was thinking that how can somebody be more dharmishta than me? When I gave you shelter, you are telling that there is someone else more dharmishta than me. I want to really meet this person and understand how can a Vaishya, a person who is involved in business, can be more dharmishta than me. So he actually goes and tries to meet, because the Google map was anyway sent to Jajali Rishi by these birds they had given, and they actually go and meet this Tuladhara. Now, Tuladhara, moment this Jajali Rishi comes and meets, Jajali Rishi understands this person and carefully observes that Tuladhara, whether it is a small boy or an adult, anybody who comes to him, he actually takes only that much which is required, money, only that much money that is required for that particular product that he's selling. He used to sell some vegetables and few other things, and he would just sustain with bare minimum requirements, and he would make just enough profit for him to maintain his body and soul together. That was Tuladhara's, and whatever he purchases, whatever he sells, there is perfect accounting without any uh, greed. He used to do things properly. He was dealing with people, and still he was a great devotee of the Lord. And when all this was observed by Jajali, he comes and meets Tuladhara and actually says, with all this behavior of yours, I understand that you are actually a great devotee. You actually, I have understood what is dharma. You have no pride whatsoever. In spite of you helping so many people and you doing your things properly, you have no pride that I am following dharma properly. I have got that little pride because I gave shelter to a few birds and I thought I am a greatest dharmista. But then, no, actually, it's you who are greater dharmista than me. So the point here is, even the Vaishya, the mercantile, any merchant or any trader, any businessman can also become a great devotee if you are following things properly. It is very much possible. So Krishna is saying, Striyo Vaishya. And then there is example of Shudras also. In the Vedic literature, we have an amazing examples of Shudra devotees. And the finest of example is Vidura. Vidura, we all have heard so much of Vidura. There is Vidura Niti, just like there is Chanakya Niti. In fact, it is also said that Chanakya Niti is derived from Vidura Niti. So Vidura is one of the greatest devotee. We have seen his amazing example, exalted personality. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidura, he becomes so wonderful, a traveling monk who keeps on moving, and he's the younger brother of Dhritarashtra, and he was born to a Shudrani. He was born Shudra. But what is his devotion? His devotion is top class. He's born in a low family. Bodily, externally, he is a Shudra, but internally, he's a great devotee. What to speak of, Vidura, We have an amazing example right in the Bhagavad Gita, a character in the Bhagavad Gita who is a Shudra. Any guesses who is that? Dev, any guess?
Prabhuji, Narad Muni was also mentioned in the Bhagavad
That was
Gita.
earlier.
Okay.
But right here, when we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, we have an example of Shudra in the Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 characters in the Bhagavad Gita who are speaking. There is Krishna and Arjuna, and we have Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya.
Sanjay.
Sanjaya is a
Uh,
Shudra. Now, can you imagine? Sanjaya is a great
Sanjay,
devotee of Lord.
Prabhuji, Sanjay was the one who was born from the maid, the Dasi.
Yes, he was also a Shudra. He was actually a
Cha.
Shudra. Just see, now even
Uh,
Sanjaya is considered to be a great devotee. In fact, in Guha, in Ramayana, we have Guha, who is also an exalted devotee, and he also is apparently a Shudra, but he's a great devotee. So you see, we have so many examples like this of women devotees. We have devotees who are Vaishyas, and we have also have devotees who are Shudras. And all of them, they perform
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You are not audible. The audio is gone just now.
Dev, am I audible now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it's fine.
Okay, so you can understand the point here. It's so very important that there is so much that is going on in the mind of Krishna, and in the mind of Krishna is such that he wants every living entity to come back. He wants every living entity to come back to his spiritual world. That is what he wants. That is what he's actually looking for. And that he expresses in this particular verse. Isn't it? So beautiful it is. So none of them, none of us are actually, in one sense, are barred from devotional service. Each one of us can practice bhakti, right? So Dev, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the next words. Very interesting words. So, Kim punar brahmana punya
Kim punarbrahmana punya
bhakta rajarshayastata
bhakta rajarshayasthatha
anityam asukham lokam
anityam asukham lokam
imam prapya bhajasvamam.
imam prapya bhajasva mam.
Once again, kim punar brahmana punya
Kim punarbrahmana punya
bhakta rajarshayastata
bhakta rajarshayasthatha
anityam asukham lokam
anityam asukham lokam
imam prapya bhajasvamam.
imam prapya bhajasva mam.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. So, this is very interesting words again. So, Krishna is saying here that Kim punar brahmana punya. Brahmana punya. Kim punar. So, interestingly, this verse is again very, very special here. Why? Because if people with the sins of the past and the present can become devotees, then what to speak of great devotees? So, Kim Punaha, Krishna is saying here, oh dear Arjuna, there are duracharis and there are papayonyas. That means people who have committed sins in the past and those who have committed sins in the present life, if such people can become devotees, then what to speak of already great devotees that are the Brahmanas and Rajarshi. See? So it's exactly Durachari. Durachari means exact opposite words Krishna is using here, Punyaha. So Durachari, Brahmana. Opposite of Durachari is a Brahmana. Then here also Krishna is Rajarshis. You know, Papa Yona, actually Papa Yona means Brahmana. Opposite word of Papa Yona is Brahmana. Then there are great Rajarishis who have also become great devotees and they're already great devotees, then what to speak of them? So it is like, you know, this particular statement of Krishna is called Kaimutiki Naya. You know, there are many different types of Nyayas which are explained in the Vedic Shastras, like Ardhakukuti Nyaya. That means the half hen logic. Nyaya means logic. So here Krishna is using a logic. What is that logic? Here it is called Kaimutiki Naya. Means, you know, if these people can do, then these people can do, oh, what more? It's what to speak of them. It's like that. So it's like a small, एक छोटा बच्चा है, वो अगर एक पत्थर उठा सकता है, if he can lift a stone, oh, then what to speak of the adults? It's like that. And very beautifully, this Kaimutiki Naya is also explained in the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam when there is that story of Ajamila. Very nice Ajamila story is there where it is explained that Mriyamano Harer Nama Grinan Putropacharitam Ajamilopi Aghat Dhama Kim Utashraddaya Grinan. Which means Mriyamano Harer Nama. He actually did not take the name of the Lord, he took actually the name of his son. Grinan Putropacharitam. Oh, if Ajamila can be protected from going to hell by just taking the name of his son, which happens to be the name of the Lord, if such a sinful person can be protected, oh, then what to speak of the great devotees? Isn't it? So, Ajamilopi Agadhama Kim Utashraddaya Grinan. So, if people like Ajamila can actually be protected and they can attain the highest perfection, then what to speak of Shraddhaya Grinan, those people who are actually devotees? Just see, this is what we have to understand. Very special these things are. So, it is called Kaimutikinaya. So, Imam Lokam, Krishna is saying that so such people are there in this particular loka, Imam Lokam. What is this Imam Lokam? This Imam Lokam, Krishna is saying, this is Anitya. Imam Prapya Bhajaswamam. But this is what Imam Lokam it is? Imam Lokam Anityam Asukham Lokam. Just see. Anityam. What is this world? This world is Anitya. What is this world? It is world of Asukha. But there is no Sukha here. And if you try to understand, Krishna has actually stated this statements thrice in Bhagavad Gita. He has explained about this thrice in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, in this particular verse, he's saying the world, this material world is anitya, it is asukham. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, 15th verse, also Krishna had explained that this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Dukhalayam means that is asukham. Ashashvatam means anityam. See, words are similar. And then again, the same thing is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita 5th chapter, 22nd verse. Ehi samsparchaja bhoga. Dukkha yone evate. Adi antavanta kaunteya. Again, he's talking about the temporary nature of this world. So, we all know that if anything is repeated thrice, that has to be considered as an authority. It is the final statement. Now, Krishna has spoken about this world, the nature of this world, which is Anitya and Asukam, thrice in the Bhagavad Gita itself. That means you can understand, and please be very sure about this, that we are in a temporary world which is Asukham. It is Dukhalayam. So it is only foolish people who are trying to artificially become happier. So it is completely against the nature. It is against the nature of what this material world is. So intelligent people, they don't actually get into these kind of temporary things, anityam, asukham things. So let us become intelligent now and let us not make any permanent plans to become happy here because it's not going to happen. We are just going to be frustrated more and more. So this is very, very special again, and Krishna is very pointedly talking about this. And that's why Prahlad Maharaj also, he says that we are not supposed to waste our time in this material world. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Shri Prahlad Uvacha, Kaumaram Acharet Pragno Dharmam Bhagavatam Iha Durlabham Manusham Janma Tat Api Adruvam Artadam. Now, Prahlad Maharaj, he is talking that, oh, my dear friends, you have already become 5 years old and you are wasting your time. 5 years without devotion is waste. Kaumaraha acharet pragno, you become intelligent now at least. You have wasted 5 years, valuable life of human life. So don't waste. Dharmam bhagavatam iha, you actually practice the highest perfection. You do that and then you will become very special. This durlabha manusha janma, don't waste unnecessarily. It is arthadam. Make it meaningful. Make it meaningful. So it is the request of Prahlad Maharaj. So we should also understand and become devotees. These principles are so wonderful. And the point here is, in this verse, Krishna is saying, if sinful people can become devotees, then what to speak of the devotees who have already engaged in devotional service? That means there is no doubt that Krishna will protect his devotees. And if we perfectly follow the devotional process as given by Srila Prabhupada, then this will be our last life. Last life. You don't have to shift from one home to another home. You don't have to think about shifting one community to another community. Nothing is required. You just have to only think of shifting from this material world to the spiritual world. That is the perfection. That is what we are looking for, actually. Isn't it? So very nice. So Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the next verse. That is the verse number 34. And this is the final verse of the Bhagavad Gita, ninth chapter. Very special verse. Manmana bhava madbhakto
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो
madhyaji mam namaskuru
मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु
mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam
मामे वैश्वसी युक्तैवम्
anam matparayana.
आत्मानं मत्परायणः
Manmana bhava madbhakto
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो
madhyaji mam namaskuru
मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु
mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam
मामेश्वैस्वसि युक्त्वैवम्
anam matparayana.
आत्मानं मत्परायणः.
Please read the translation.
Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Hare Krishna.
So very important verse. This verse can also be memorized and should be memorized. It's a very nice. Man mana bhavamat bhakto. Krishna is saying, dear Arjuna, you become my devotee. Man mana. How you become my devotee? Man mana. Think about me always in the mind. Keep your mind engaged in thinking of me all the time. Madhyaji. You always pray to me, and mam namaskuru, always offer your respects to me. Mam evasyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. If you do like this, then you are completely, when you're absorbed in me, you will come to me. See, you will come to me. That means if we do this like Arjuna, we will go to Krishna. So this is the direct invitation Krishna is giving to all of us. He is giving this invitation to all of us. You can come to me. How you can come? Man mana. You engage your mind. Now, yes, Prabhu, we are all excited. Now we will start engaging our mind and thinking of Krishna. Oh, mind is very easy to control, Prabhu. Nothing, no big deal about it. So I'm sure this lifetime is. I will go back to Godhead, Prabhu. I'm so confident now. My mind is already fixed in Krishna, Prabhu. I'm going to think like this. I'm thinking of Krishna is not very difficult for me, Prabhu. 24 hours bar 7, I'm thinking of Krishna, Prabhu. We all think like this. But you know that what is the state of our mind? Our mind, how turbulent it is. Mind is like monkey. Monkey. Shastra say it is like a monkey. And you know the nature of monkey. What does it do? The monkey is so flickering. It's always jumping from one branch to another branch. It's always jumping around here and there. Now you imagine that such a monkey is not just jumping here and there, but it has also a drunken monkey. You give the monkey some whiskey and beer and whatever you want, and just imagine now you give some alcohol to this monkey. How will it jump? It will become a mad drunken monkey. It's crazy, isn't it? It'll go even more madder. Now imagine a monkey. Our mind is like a monkey. It's not like a monkey, but it's a drunken monkey. And on top of that, imagine now a scorpion come and bites, stings that drunken monkey. How do you think that monkey will jump now? That is the state of our mind. Our mind is like a monkey. It's a drunken monkey, and it is bitten by scorpion-like desires. It is crazy. Just as we are speaking now, it is jumping here and there, revolving all over the world. And then finally, oh, Prabhuji is speaking something, let's focus. It's like that. It's so difficult So when Krishna is saying that man mana bhava mad bhakta, oh Prabhu, this is very easy. No, it's not so easy because our mind is like it's like a drunken monkey which is bitten by a scorpion, jumping here and there all the time. So it's not so easy to control such a mad monkey. Our mind is so difficult to control. But by practice, in the association of devotees, when we chant the holy names, it is possible that this monkey can be controlled slowly. And then, when you have that controlled mind, mad bhaktaha, bhava, madhyaji, mam namaskuru, all that will happen. I'm sure Achyutanji is also hearing this, and Achyutanji also will be thinking, oh my God, yes, it's so difficult. Our mind is so turbulent. All the time it is jumping here and there. Right now, so many news will come, breaking news are coming, and that is coming, this coming. Oh my God, so many things are going on in the world, and our mind is absorbed in so many things. And people think, oh, I have a lot of time. We are all thinking that we have a lot of time to practice devotional service. I can control the mind, Prabhu. I just need to finish few more, things, and then another few years, and I'll be able to control my mind. People think like that. I will do bhakti, later on when I become old. It's possible for me to do bhakti only then. Now it's possible. There is a Niti Shastra which says, it says, what is the use of digging a well when your house is on fire? People who speak, oh, I will practice bhakti when I become old. It is like, you're digging a well when your house is on a fire. There's no point. By the time you actually dig the well, your house will be turned into ashes. So people who speak like that I will follow and I will become a devotee when I become old, what's the use? Our body will be turned into ashes by then. Very important to understand. So we should not delay such things in life. And fortunately, we have begun it. And I think we should continue very seriously. And Krishna is saying that you are invited. We all are invited. He's inviting us now. And the very simplest way of engaging our mind is in this yuga is to chant the holy names. Every yuga has a yuga dharma. Satya yuga, it was dhyana. Treta yuga, it was yagna. Dwapar yuga, it was archa vigraha, seva. And then now in Kali yuga, it is Hari Kirtan. It's only Hari Kirtan. And by doing so, man mana bhavamat bhakto will happen. Chanting the holy names will make us a sober monkey. In a sense, our mind will become little sober by chanting the holy names. And Mam, is Krishna saying, Namaskara. You offer Namaskara to me. There is that song, no? Barambar pranam hai, barambar pranam hai. Offer obeisances again and again and again. Anytime you go to the temple, anytime you visit any temple, pay obeisances immediately. You come back from office or you come back from college, pay obeisances at your puja room. Pay obeisances every time you see the Lord. So what is happening? You are developing that culture of paying obeisance. Krishna is saying, see how Krishna is saying, by offering namaskara, you'll automatically think of me. Your mind is engaged there. So when we follow all these things properly, when we have this wonderful opportunity given to us in this human form of life, we should strictly follow this. Very strictly follow this. Very, very important. Srimad Bhagavatam, the last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The last verse. Can you imagine Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Purana. It is the cream of all the Vedas. And then there is the final verdict, which is considered to be the highest thing. In anything, when something is spoken last, is very important thing. And Srimad Bhagavatam, the very last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it explains that Nama Sankirtanas Yaya Sarva Sarva Papa Pranashanam. नाम संकीर्तनस्तथा सर्व papa pranashanam pranamo dukkha shamanastaham namami harim param. Sorry that words, the uh, text was little not proper. That's why I could not read properly. But the ultimate meaning here is that Nama Sankirtanam, Tata, it is Nama Sankirtanam Sarva Papa Pranashanam. So, Pranashanam means it's not simply Nashanam. Our Papa is not simply becoming Nasha. Pranashanam, Prakrishta Rupena Nashanam. Everything is burnt out. All our sins are fully eradicated just by Nama Sankirtanam. So, this is the last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then, where this ends, Chaitanya Charitamrita begins. Chaitanya Charitamrita begins with Harinama Sankirtana. So, that's why Bhagavad Gita is graduation, Bhagavatam is post graduation, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is PhD. So, very, very special these things are. So when we understand all these things properly, then Madhyaji means basically in the previous verses we have understood that Yad Ashnas, Yad Juhosi, Dadati Yad, we have understood like whatever you offer, whatever you eat, everything you offer it to me, oh Arjuna, isn't it? That so Madhyaji means basically it involves offering everything to the Lord. Everything you should offer to the Lord. So, when we offer pranams to the Lord doesn't mean externally speaking that, oh, I'm going to do pranam, but you have to sync your desires with the Lord. Our desires and the Lord's desires should sync. That is pranama. For example, I'll tell you, there is mother, mother is saying that, oh, beta, son, please get some water for me. The son will say, Mataji, please pranam. But मैं पानी नहीं ले सकता. Pranams to you, but I will not get water. Now, what is the point? I mean, you're doing pranam, but your desire and intention is not matching the intention of the mother. So, such pranam will not really help. Isn't it? I will do pranam, but I will not give water. So, it's not right thing. So, similarly, when we do pranams to the Lord, our desires should sync with the desires of the Lord. Then that is true pranama. So that is what we are supposed to do. And there are many things that we can go on. But if you have any questions for today, you can please feel free to ask any questions. That way we will try to understand if there is something that you want to ask or any questions on the topic that we have discussed today on the session.
Prabhuji, I don't think it's on the topics that we discussed today, the question.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to know that there are certain things that we feel that we are missing out on. Just like, for example, in college, if I'm doing one particular thing, but there are 10 more other things that we have to be doing, other
Okay.
people are doing. So, how do we overcome that fear of missing out on other things that we possibly want to do in the future or we are not able to do right now?
Okay, so that's why when we have a list of tasks, and especially when there are many tasks to do, then the next thing is to prioritize them. What comes based on the availability of time, we need to prioritize, and that happens, and that's the challenge with most of us. It's a student or any professional or a homemaker or anybody for that matter. Each one of us, we have a lot of tasks to do. So each one of us have only 24 hours. The successful people and the unsuccessful people. All of us have only 24 hours. That is set. But how do we nicely prioritize our task and execute them nicely? Based on that, our success is determined. So we need to list first of all, because anything that is not written down, when you don't jot down the points and the task, then you really don't know what is there and what is not there. if we keep everything only in the mind, then it's difficult to execute them. But when we actually write them, when we have a list of things to do, write them, and then we prioritize, then things will come, it will become very clear. We know this is the time available and where should I focus. So there are some things, in the time management, there are four quadrants. If you have heard about the four quadrants, there are four quadrants. So those four quadrants basically speak about the important and urgent things. So in the four quadrants, one is important and it is urgent. And the second quadrant, you will see there is, it's important but not urgent. Third quadrant, urgent but important. And there is urgent and not urgent and not important. So like that, there are four quadrants. If you know this quadrant and if you can fit the task, you make these four quadrants. When you list the task, you try to pick up each task and put them into quadrants. And then when you know which are the tasks which requires firefighting. Firefighting means, oh, these are like hot burning things that I need to do. And then there are different tasks that, okay, these are the things that I can do in the next second phase. Like spirituality, it is very important, but it is not urgent. It is not urgent. We put that into it. It is very, very important. Every day you have to follow, but doesn't mean that you have to rush around. I have to go and do something. No, it's not urgent. You keep doing things. It's very important. You are supposed to do it. At the back of mind, you're always supposed to do things, practice things. But then prioritize and put them into these four quadrants. That itself will give you a lot of clarity. You can try this. It's simple. You just have a chart, have the four quadrants, list of tasks, put them into each quadrant. Then done. For this month, these are the things that I want to do. Next month, I want to do these things. So there are short-term goals, long-term goals. Assign them into things, and it will be fine.
Yes, thank you
Was
for
this your question, or you have something else in mind?
Yeah, no, it clears out a lot of things. I'll try it out and I'll let you know.
Yes. Good. Any other question? Good. So with this, we have completed 9 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita study circle. So 9 chapters. We are halfway through of Bhagavad Gita now. So we have another 9 chapters more. So another 2 years or more, you have to tolerate me to complete Bhagavad Gita. It's quite a long journey, but a journey which is worth, I feel, because we have waited for many, many lifetimes. So waiting for another few years, a couple of years at least, uh, is worth, I guess. And I think we are progressing step by step. And I think if we have consistent sessions without any breaks, I think it will be really good. I'll try my best to have no gaps between now and continue every session week after week. So with that, I think we'll be able to complete it soon. Okay. So nice. So please take care. And if you have any questions, you can always message them in the group. Please take care. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.